see your identification. Now.
I am Brigadier General Solomon Drayton, United States Army. What agency are you with, and do you have a warrant?
Uniform doesn't mean anything to me. We both know people dress up to look official.
This is my home. You are required to state your authority.
You fit the...
They thought they had caught another suspect. Instead, they destroyed their own careers in less than 24 hours. It started on a quiet Saturday morning in an upscale neighborhood just outside Atlanta. The sun was barely over the rooftops, and retired Brigadier General Marcus Reynolds was in his driveway washing his black SUV while his wife prepared breakfast inside. After more than 30 years of military service, Reynolds had built a life of discipline, honor, and peace. He was respected everywhere he went, a decorated combat veteran, a man who had served multiple tours overseas, and someone his entire neighborhood admired. But that peace shattered in seconds. Without warning, 3 black SUVs came screaming around the corner and slammed to a stop in front of his house. Doors flew open. Armed agents wearing tactical vests rushed toward him with guns drawn. "Get on the ground, now!" Marcus froze, soap dripping from his hands. "What is this about?" he asked calmly, raising both arms. "On the ground," one of them screamed again. His wife burst through the front door in panic. "Marcus?" Neighbors started stepping outside. Phones came out immediately. Marcus slowly lowered himself down. "I am cooperating," he said firmly. "Now tell me why you are on my property." But instead of answering, one of the agents rushed behind him, shoved his face into the concrete, and slammed handcuffs onto his wrists. His wife screamed, "What are you doing? That's my husband!" Marcus grunted in pain as his shoulder smashed against the pavement. "You have no right to do this," he shouted. "Show me a warrant." No one answered. Instead, the lead agent leaned down and hissed into his ear, "Shut up and comply." Marcus's wife was crying hysterically now, begging them to stop while their teenage daughter stood frozen in the doorway, shaking. The entire neighborhood watched in disbelief as a decorated army general was pinned face down in his own driveway like a criminal. Marcus looked up through clenched teeth and said 7 words that changed everything. "I am Brigadier General Marcus Reynolds, U.S. Army." For a second, nobody reacted. Then one younger agent paused. "What did he say?" he asked. The lead officer ignored him. Marcus repeated louder, "I am Brigadier General Marcus Reynolds, United States Army, retired. Show me your warrant." The younger agent stepped closer, looking uncertain. "Sir, do you have identification?" Marcus pointed toward his pocket. The younger agent opened his wallet and immediately went pale. "Oh my God!" The lead agent turned. "What?" The younger officer held up the military ID, his hand trembling. "Sir, this is him." The entire scene changed instantly. The lead agent's confidence vanished. "Call supervisor, now." Another agent stepped away, whispering frantically into his radio. Marcus slowly rose to his knees, still cuffed, staring directly at them. "You illegally entered my property. You assaulted me in front of my family. You humiliated me in front of my neighbors, and you still haven't shown me a warrant." No one spoke. Because there was one massive problem. They didn't have one. The agents had the wrong address. They had mistaken General Reynolds for another man they were supposedly investigating, but they had never verified the information before storming onto his property. And now dozens of neighbors had recorded everything. The supervisor arrived 10 minutes later in a panic. He rushed over and immediately ordered the cuffs removed. "Sir, we deeply apologize." Marcus stepped back, rubbing his wrists. "Do not touch me." "Sir, this was simply a misunderstanding." "No," Marcus interrupted. "A misunderstanding is knocking on the wrong door. What just happened was assault. The supervisor tried lowering his voice. "General Reynolds, perhaps we can resolve this privately." Marcus stared him dead in the eye. "No, you've made the biggest mistake of your careers." Then he pulled out his phone and made one call. Within 2 hours, Pentagon officials had been informed. Within 4 hours, the Department of Homeland Security was notified. By that evening, the video was everywhere. News outlets ran the footage non-stop. A black Army general face down in his driveway, handcuffed by ICE agents who had no warrant, no probable cause, and no explanation. The public outrage was instant. Veterans groups exploded online. Civil rights organizations demanded answers. Military leaders condemned the incident. And the deeper investigators looked, the worse it got. Because during the internal review, they discovered the agents had violated nearly every protocol in the book. No warrant had been issued, no positive ID had been made, no supervisor had approved the operation, and most shockingly of all, they had ignored the younger agent's warning when he initially questioned whether they had the correct suspect. But that wasn't the end of it, because investigators soon uncovered something even more damaging. After the arrest, the agents had attempted to falsify paperwork. They wrote in their report that General Reynolds had been resistant and aggressive, but the neighborhood footage proved the opposite, every second of it. The video showed Marcus calm, cooperative, respectful, and compliant from start to finish. The agents had lied. And once federal investigators confirmed that, the entire case turned from misconduct into criminal fraud. One by one, the agents were suspended, then terminated. The lead officer was charged with falsifying federal records. 2 supervisors were demoted for attempting to cover up the incident, and the agency itself was forced into public humiliation. Weeks later, General Reynolds stood before a sea of cameras in full military dress uniform. The same man they had thrown onto the pavement now stood taller than ever, medals shining across his chest. A reporter asked him, "General Reynolds, what would you like to say to the officers involved?" He stared into the cameras and answered calmly, "I served this country for over 30 decades defending the Constitution. The men who attacked me swore to uphold that same Constitution. They failed. And when those entrusted with power abuse it, they must be held accountable." The room erupted in applause. Then his wife stepped forward and took his hand. "Our daughter watched her father treated like an animal that day. Those agents didn't just hurt him, they traumatized our entire family." A lawsuit followed. The federal government settled for millions. But Marcus made it clear the money was never the point. He wanted accountability, and he got it. Because the agents who thought they could violate a man's rights without consequences learned the hard way that day. They picked the wrong driveway, they handcuffed the wrong man, and in doing so, they destroyed their own careers forever. They thought they were above the law until the day they threw a black Army general in handcuffs and found out exactly who he was.